know me as Venger.
For those well versed in the annals of Dungeons and Dragons, the name Venger will no doubt ring a bell as the nefarious antagonist of the classic animated series based on the beloved tabletop RPG. And who could forget the unforgettable vocal stylings of Peter Cullen, who brought this sinister sorcerer to life. Gifted with a litany of dark spells that would make even the most seasoned of adventurers quake in their boots, Venger is a constant thorn in the side of our brave young heroes, ever on the hunt for magical artifacts that he believes will give him dominion over the entire realm. And if that wasn't enough, it turns out he's the son of the Dungeon Master himself, a shocking twist that remains unexplored due to the show's untimely cancellation. In this video we will explore Venger, his origins, his role in the animated Dungeons and Dragons show, and his future in the franchise. But more importantly, we'll address a long-standing question: is he truly a villain? Now, before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. It's just a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you very much. Now, begin.
This is no game.
Introduction to Venger. Who is he? Venger, the menacing sorcerer and archmagi, stands as the primary antagonist of the Dungeons and Dragons animated series. With his vast knowledge of both necromantic and evocation spells, he is a formidable foe to the super children and their guide, the Dungeon Master, who Venger consistently antagonizes throughout the series. But honestly, this dude has his reasons. As the children strive to find their way back home from the realm of Dungeons and Dragons, Venger's forces and terror tactics constantly force them to fight back, often leading to entanglements with others in need of their help. In his quest for power and dominion, Venger becomes a constant thorn in the side of the children and the Dungeon Master. Voiced by the legendary Peter Cullen, Venger's sinister presence and cunning intellect add to the show's thrilling and action-packed atmosphere. Personally, I don't think Cullen gets half the credit he deserves for the impact Venger had on pop culture and other similar villains. Essentially, Venger is the epitome of treachery and authoritarianism, never tolerating failures and always expecting his orders to be carried out to the letter. He is particularly menacing given that his targets are a group of child heroes ranging from 8 to 15 years of age. Venger's reign of terror spans at least 1,000 years, and the evil sorcerer has claimed the lives of countless heroes, never once discriminating against them on the basis of their age, gender, species, or anything else. He doesn't shy away from making threats, especially towards the heroes and their mentor, the Dungeon Master, creating a palpable sense of danger.
Shall see.
Origin of Venger and his innocent past. Driven by an unquenchable desire to defeat the Dungeon Master and claim the realm for himself, he is a master of dark and forbidden magics, capable of unleashing all manner of horrors upon his foes. Yet despite his fearsome reputation, there is a tragic aspect to his character. Once a heroic figure, Venger was transformed into a half-fiend by an unknown force called the Nameless One, a powerful and malevolent entity who was banished from the realm a long time ago. In fact, Dungeon Master is actually Venger's father and used to be Venger's mentor, but after Venger became what he became, the Dungeon Master considers Venger his greatest mistake. Venger's twin sister, Karina, a powerful sorceress in her own right, is a reminder of the legacy that haunts their family. With their combined powers, Venger and Karina represent a grave threat to the young heroes who must navigate the dangers of the realm and find a way to defeat this malevolent duo. When our 6 heroes entered this mystical realm, they were bestowed with powerful magical artifacts by the Dungeon Master himself, but these trinkets didn't just catch the attention of our protagonists. Venger wanted them as well. This guy's got a serious case of power hunger and he ain't afraid to show it. Riding on his trusty dark horse called Nightmare, which by the way breathes fire, Venger's got his sights set on the ultimate prize, defeating the fearsome dragon goddess called Tiamat and the Dungeon Master himself. But don't think he's doing it all alone. He's got his creepy sidekick, the Shadow Demon, and an army of orcs at his beck and call. With multiple castles scattered throughout the realm and a reputation for taking down even the most skilled heroes, Venger is a force to be reckoned with.
Fortunately, that won't be enough to save you.
Venger's role in Dungeons and Dragons animated show. In the first episode, titled The Night of No Tomorrow, the children find themselves lost and afraid in this strange new world. They seek out the legendary magician Merlin, hoping that he can help them find a way back home. Merlin agrees to teach Presto the ways of magic, and Presto decides to stay with Merlin. However, when Presto attempts to cast a spell to create a way back home, he accidentally summons a group of dragons that attack a nearby village. The children are left to deal with the consequences of Presto's mistake and must find find a way to stop the dragons before they cause any more destruction. And, to make things worse, they soon learn that Merlin was not who he seemed to be. In fact, he was Venger in disguise. In the following episode, instead of attacking himself, he makes use of reluctant pawns to defeat the young heroes. They come across Sir John, a knight who appears to be fearless but is actually a coward at heart. Facing banishment from his village unless he performs a brave deed, Sir John joins forces with the group to prove his worth. However, Venger captured the son of the disgraced knight Sir John and forced him to lead the group into a trap. And Venger's plan did succeed in part, but he failed to achieve his ultimate objective, which was taking the weapons of the children. Dungeon Master sends a group of children on a mission to the ancient Hall of Bones, which was the only place that they could recharge their magical weapons. But first, they must find a guide who can lead them there. But Dungeon Master's guidance always ended in a warning disguised as a piece of advice. As they searched for the guide, they fell into a trap set in motion by Venger, and they were almost devoured by a woman who could shapeshift into a giant spider. After somehow managing to escape her, they do find the guide, but much like in the very first episode, the guide is revealed to of course be Venger. All in all, Venger does just about everything possible to steal the weapons of the kids. In the later part of the show, he struggles to stop the kids from reaching their birth realm, which of course is Earth. Venger's minions and allies. Warduke. Appearing in the episode titled Searching for Dungeon Master, Warduke was the barbaric bounty hunter with a sinister reputation who galloped through the forest on his trusty steed, wearing his blue helmet gleaming in the moonlight. Warduke's mission was to kidnap the enigmatic Dungeon Master and freeze him in a block of ice using his powerful magic sword with the help of an army of monstrous frogs. He planned to sell the Dungeon Master for the right price, but the kids are not ones to be underestimated, and they trail Warduke to his lair where they engage in a fierce battle to save the Dungeon Master from his icy fate. As the tension builds to a fever pitch, Venger himself joins the fray, unleashing his dark magic against the heroes. But they are not alone, as Dungeon Master lends his own mystical power to the fight when Warduke's magic sword strikes the ice block containing Dungeon Master, shattering it into a million pieces and sending Venger and his minions fleeing into the night. Lizard Men. The lizard men in the show were inspired by the lizard folk of the role-playing game. In the animated show, they served Venger as his henchmen, doing everything he would ask of them. In fact, they even guarded Venger's prison of agony, a place from which no one could return. Although Venger himself struggled to take the weapons from the kids, the lizard men did it with a sense of ease and brought them to the prison of agony. However, the barbarian was not caught by them, and he managed to save the day, of course, with the help of the Dungeon Master and a few others. Essentially, the lizard men were all brawn and no brain kinds of creatures, and it wasn't very difficult to defeat or fool them. In the game, the lizard folk were unique creatures who had little interest in the riches or knowledge that didn't directly benefit them. Instead, they placed all their focus on finding their next tasty morsel to satisfy their insatiable appetite. In battle, lizard folk were a force to be reckoned with, but even their fiercest warrior could be easily distracted by the sight or scent of a delicious meal. Orcs. Orcs appear in the episode titled Prison Without Walls. In this episode, the children are trying to find the way home from a magical realm, but they are sidetracked by the plight of some enslaved gnomes who are being forced to mine mystic gems. The children are allowed to use their weapons as weapons, and they defeat the orc guards who are overseeing the gnomes. The gnomes tell the children that the only way to leave the realm is to find the spellbinder, Lucian, who is imprisoned in the Swamp of Sorrow. The children set off to find him, and the episode ends with the gnome returning to face the punishment from the orcs and Venger. Much like the lizard men, the orcs were stupid muscle men who had little in the name of intellect. However, they did know how to make a mess and threaten people. Orcs are physically imposing with broad shoulders and muscular builds. They have grey to greenish skin, pronounced jaws and sharp teeth and pointy ears. Orcs are known for their ferocity in battle and their love of raiding and pillaging. In the game, they are often portrayed as being less intelligent than other humanoid races and more prone to acting on instinct or emotion rather than reason.
Hall is the source of your power. Then you leave me no choice.
What makes Venger so powerful? Venger is clearly a force to be reckoned with. He's so powerful that he's often described as the only entity capable of rivaling the Dungeon Master himself. In fact, he possesses magical abilities that have allowed him to defeat countless heroes that have attempted to take him down. With over 1,000 years of experience under his belt, Venger's magical prowess is unmatched. He's capable of casting all sorts of spells and can use them to devastating effect. Despite having been destroyed several times, he's seemingly immortal and always manages to return return, much to the hero's dismay. The only weapons that have the power to defeat him are the ones wielded by the young warriors. Although he has wings, Venger prefers teleportation over flying. He only uses his wings when he's riding his trusty steed, Nightmare, which can breathe fire and fly. In addition to his magical abilities, Venger is incredibly powerful physically. He's been shown to be able to lift and throw boulders with ease, as well as engage in hand-to-hand combat with the heroes. His strength and durability are so great that he can withstand direct hits from weapons that would kill any normal creature. Moreover, Venger is a master strategist, able to manipulate events and individuals to achieve his goals. He is cunning and manipulative, often playing mind games with his enemies and exploiting their weaknesses to gain the upper hand. He is also incredibly patient, willing to wait years or even centuries to achieve his objectives. Despite his immense power, Venger has one weakness: his lust for power. He is so consumed by his desire to become the most powerful being in the realm that he will stop at nothing to achieve it. This has led him to make deals with other powerful entities, such as the dragon Tiamat, and to take risks that have sometimes resulted in his defeat. All in all, Venger is a character to be feared and respected, a truly formidable villain that stands the test of time. How does the Venger story end? The epic finale of Dungeons & Dragons that never made it to air was finally brought to life through the script of Michael Reeves. In the episode titled Requiem, the kids are facing their toughest challenge yet as they confront Tiamat, the dragon goddess and the mother of all evil dragons. When they call upon the Dungeon Master for help, he sets them on the mission to find the key without his interference. Venger strikes a deal with the Dungeon Master, promising the kids a safe passage home if they complete a task for him. The group splits in two, with Eric leading one group on a quest to find the key and Hank leading the others to stop them. The two groups fight their way through the demon realm to reach a hidden vault where they must make a decision about the key. Eric picks it up, but he is stopped by Hank, and as they argue, a slime monster appears, forcing them to fight it off again. Venger materializes once more, demanding Eric throw the key into the abyss, but he chooses to unlock the vault instead. This causes a massive burst of light that disintegrates the slime monster and engulfs Venger, transforming him back into a human. The Dungeon Master reveals himself before the children and tells them Venger was once his son and that he had been guiding the children to help redeem Venger. On the other hand, Venger explains that it was his conscious decision to follow the Nameless One that brought him all the powers, but also took away all the goodness from him, and that all the goodness he once possessed had been imprisoned in the vault. Now that the evil fiend had been redeemed, the Dungeon Master opened up a portal for the kids to return home, leaving it up to them to decide whether to leave the realm or stay. It's an emotional and action-packed ending that ties up loose ends and gives fans closure on their beloved series. The ending seems to tie up many loose ends and provides closure to the story. It reveals a surprising twist with Venger's true identity and the Dungeon Master's plan to redeem him. However, it most definitely was a bit rushed and too convenient, as it introduces new elements and resolutions within quite a short amount of time. Why was Venger not the villain? For many fans of the classic Dungeons & Dragons animated series, Venger is often seen as the main villain of the show. He is depicted as a powerful and malicious sorcerer who seeks to take over the realm and reshape it in his own image. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that Venger is not the true villain in the series. The Dungeon Master, Venger's father, and his twin sister Karina are all incredibly powerful sorcerers who can control nearly anything in the realm. They're each over 1,000 years old and possess a mastery of magic that is unrivaled. The Dungeon Master taught both of his children magic from a young age, and it's clear that he hoards power and refuses to share the source of his power, the Heart of Dawn. Venger's desire to take over the realm and become its ruler may seem like an evil aspiration, but it's a common trope in many series for a son to want to rise to his potential and become greater than his father before him. While Venger's methods may be questionable, his desire to be a great leader is not inherently evil. However, Venger's true downfall is his connection to the Nameless One, a multi-dimensional entity and the ultimate source of evil in the realm. The Nameless One is the ruler of many universes and seeks to rule the entire cosmos with evil, including the Dungeons & Dragons realm. Venger seeks out the Nameless One and gains his power, but only in his absence. This reveals the true nature of that relationship. The Nameless One grants Venger his power only to do his bidding and spread chaos throughout the realm. Venger is rendered powerless when the Nameless One begins to terrorize the realm, and it's clear that his power comes from the same source as his patron. The Dungeon Master even warns the children not not to look upon the Nameless One's face, as it's not meant to be looked upon. This raises question about the true nature of the Nameless One and its influences over Venger. It's unclear whether looking at the Nameless One's face drives one to evil or madness, but it's clear that Venger is willing to do its bidding and even seeks to defeat his own father. Ultimately, Venger's desire for power and his connection to the Nameless One makes him a formidable antagonist, but he's not the true villain of the series. The Nameless One's desire for evil and chaos makes him the ultimate villain, and Venger is simply a pawn in the game. In conclusion, Venger may be the primary antagonist, but his connection to the Nameless One reveals a deeper, more insidious evil at play. Will Venger return in new adventure? The latest D&D Direct has unveiled a tantalizing glimpse of what's to come for fans of the classic animated series. The nefarious sorcerer Venger is set to make a dramatic return, and it's anyone's guess what kind of havoc he will wreak this time round. But one thing's for sure, Venger is someone who knows how to steal the spotlight. Rumours are flying about the nature of Venger's comeback, with some speculating that he may be the lead in an upcoming D&D series. But for now, all we can do is wait and wonder. Meanwhile, the core party from the animated series, that is the young heroes, are set to make a cameo in the upcoming live-action film Honor Among Thieves. It's unclear what role they'll play in the movie, but based on their history of daring exploits, it's sure to be an exciting one. In one of the scenes, the party is seen navigating a treacherous labyrinth and outsmarting its deadly traps to claim a valuable treasure. Will they emerge unscathed, or will their luck finally run out?
So Dungeon Master has finally shown his true colors. Have you never wondered?
Marvelous verdict. In conclusion, Venger remains one of the most memorable villains in the Dungeons and Dragons universe. With his mysterious return on the horizon looming, I, for one, am eagerly anticipating what kind of chaos he'll bring to the table this time round. While Venger may be known for his dastardly deeds, he also represents an important aspect of the Dungeons and Dragons experience. His complexity and depth as a character has made him a beloved figure among fans of all ages around the globe, and his return is sure to add an exciting new dimension to the world of D&D. This fiend is the very definition of power, ambition, and the dangers of obsession, but then again he also relies heavily on the importance of teamwork. Whether he emerges victorious or falls to the might of his adversaries, one thing is certain: Venger's legacy will continue to endure in the hearts and minds of D&D fans for years to come. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't done so already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.
I shall